folks, I'm back. I'm trying to get through this video because I did not get to do too much yesterday. Dragon Man came back home sick again and with a long paper to prepare for. Luckily, he wrote his last exam today. Anyway, I want to give you a quick opinion of Harry and Meghan's Father's Day video before it is complete and utter old news. Well, it is actually already days old, but yes, life is life. Well, I watched it a few times, and what I find strangest of all is that Meghan could not even take the trouble to post the clips in order. In one, Archie is a baby, then a toddler, then a baby again, and the same with Lily. So either Meghan did not bother to even try and put it in order, or she did it on purpose so that we have something to talk and speculate about. What I do believe about the entire video is that Harry is indeed more involved with the children than Meghan. Compare this video with others or so-called family photographs, and it is obvious that Meghan is eyeing or playing up to the camera, whereas Harry's attention is more on the children. In general, the children also look more relaxed with him than with Meghan. I think Meghan is too concerned with the actual pose and how it comes across, posing with Lee on her hip while Archie is clinging to her, whereas Harry is more playful. But that, my dears, is just on the surface. What is happening behind closed doors may very well look completely different. But I also went and watched Meghan's podcast with Emma Drere. I think that's how you say her surname, Grede. And if I have not been 100% convinced that Meghan's entire life is a lie, that she is seriously mentally unstable, that there is something wrong with her, then this video, this interview with Emma wiped out any doubt I may have had. So I'm going to go through the interview with you. Well, I'm going to try to do that because I can only take so much of that particular voice and that face. Well, to start off, Meghan was asked by Emma where she got her entrepreneurial skills and interest from. And Meghan had to think for a while because, of course, no one in a real family is really known for the magnificent entrepreneurial skills. Now, I know Thomas Jr. worked for and supported himself for most of his life, and Doria was at some point first selling bohemian-style clothing, which I think went bust or she lost interest. Anyway, and then she started a travel agency which ended in a mess, with rumours still doing the rounds that she landed herself in trouble with regards to tax fraud or whatever. Anyway, for whatever reason, both her parents declared bankruptcy at some point. Anyway, Meghan quickly pulled her maternal grandfather out of the hat. Well, Alvin Ragland was an antiques dealer who mostly sold at markets. Alvin Ragland died in 2011 after he fell and hit his head after supposedly tripping over his dog leash. Meghan was filming Suits in Toronto when Alvin died. Friends of Alvin, particularly a lady called Eva, who had a stand near Alvin at the Melrose trading post, said that Alvin was charismatic and hard-working and that he travelled far and wide to flea markets where he sold knickknacks and second-hand designer shoes. Alvin was liked, and many vendors were familiar with him and his beaten-up El Camino pickup, filled with a collection of antiques. Alvin, however, did have an antique shop called Was New in View Park. He then worked for a Los Angeles antique shop called Ingram's before eventually opening his own place again next to Ingram's. And then finally he found that he enjoyed traveling from market to market more. The organizer of the Melrose Trading Post is sure Meghan visited her grandfather at the market as a youngster, but Meghan said that she often spent time with him after school in his store to help him with his antiques. Well, although time and distance-wise it was not impossible for her to do. I mean, Alvin's home was only about 5 miles from Immaculate Heart, but the market was only open on Sundays, and what happened to her spending her afternoons on set with her father? Now, I don't know, you guys. She may have spent a day or two once in a blue moon with old Alvin, but I do not think it was as often or as much as she's trying to convince Emma of. It just does not ring true. In my opinion, it is once again Meghan exaggerating, if not lying. So, I mean, why do I think that? Well, why hasn't she spoken about it before? I mean, it would have been an interesting experience, so, but she's never mentioned it before. Anyway, when asked about as ever, she tells the story about so many friends telling her that her jams made them so happy, but that most people expected her to go into fashion or beauty. Really? Yeah, I mean, teach people to have paws as big as craters, plastic hair and wrinkled clothing. Yeah, sure, Meghan. Anyway, I found Emma's response hilarious. She narrowed her eyes and said, "No doubt," and looked away. Oh my gosh, I could not help but giggle just looking at Emma's face. The way she narrowed her eyes and shook her head when Meghan said she was thinking of keeping the jams, preserves and so on as a small side brand. You know, she was actually meaning to say side hustle. But then Netflix stepped up and offered to be her partner. I so wish I knew what was going through Emma's head at the time. Maybe something like, "You stupid bitch, and you are still sitting here and haven't restocked yet?" Oh, and how cool and open Meghan can be. She said it took her a while to get going because she was not going to sacrifice on quality. Well, from what I saw, she actually skimped a lot. Her jam was actually syrup, boxes were dented, and the tea tasted like wee. And she is so entitled that she actually says she takes her time because someone else's urgency is not her urgency. Well, again, how original is dear Meghan? Not at all, because I see that the quote, "Respectfully, your emergency is not my emergency," is credited to one Chris Lima. But you see, if you go read his entire speech, then you will find that he does not quite mean what Meghan is trying to make it mean. He was actually talking about priorities and not being distracted. Anyway, it would have been better for Meghan to quote Jim Rohn, who in his motivation speech said, "Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value." Now, just as an aside, it also really caught my attention as to how often Meghan touches her nose or puts her finger under her nose as if it is running, a sign of sniffing some substance, perhaps. Anyway, she also explains how the Netflix people are not just business partners, but familiar and friends. How by constantly sending Bella fruit baskets and stuff, Bella finally said, "This is a show." Yeah, right. Bella likely meant a comedy show, and Meghan misunderstood. Mexie Daisy is so full of shit. She speaks about one-on-one customer service. I mean, what is she talking about? She basically has a mail order business. Those cards in the boxes are printed. She does not pack the boxes herself. I don't even think she knows who ordered what or where it is going to. Once the rubbish drops in the Netflix shops, Meghan is also not going to stand behind the counter herself. So what is she talking about? One-on-one customer service. She has a darn distribution company sending this stuff out for her. Oh my word. And what's up with her face? It looks like her jaw grew an inch or two, as if she gained an extra 10 teeth, like her nose bridge dropped again, and that holier-than-thou look, looking up to the heavens and saying, "It all starts in the garden with a beautiful, humble pot of jam." Oh my goodness. Oh, and this new venture is full of learns. The woman's English, and she tells us that if you suffer from imposter syndrome, it is because you act like you know everything. Oh, and please do not forget how smart Meghan is, because she will remind you a couple of times during the course of the interview. She also tells us that she does not think about her brand failing because her faith is bigger than her fear, which is indeed from the Bible and appears in some shape or form in the book of Mark a few times. Joyce Meyer also has a video out of a speech she gave in India titled, "Let Your Faith Be Greater Than Your Fear." Honestly, I think Meghan has too much time on her hands, and every time she's invited to a podcast or for an interview, she studies a bunch of quotes and brings it into her narrative. I guess in an effort to try and sound clever. Oh my gosh, I also had to take a break a few times because the woman is just too much. I mean, over the top. She goes on to talk about her, and I quote, time as an auditioning actress, and how there were not many roles for mixed-race actresses. Oh my, oh my, oh my, what a liar. She was an auditioning actress between 2003 and 2010, not in 1903 and 1910. I love the fact that Emma went, "Really? Really? Really?" And I could see in her face this woman was inches away from laughing or telling Meghan she was talking shite and making excuses for herself. I mean, come on. Firstly, before it became fashionable for Meghan to have a drop of African in her, she 100% denied that side of her. No one at Immaculate Heart knew she had a black mother until she graduated and Doria was invited. She has been straightening her hair forever, and she was successful in erasing her heritage because no one actually went on to question her on it. Anyway, there were many mixed race and black actors and actresses long before Meghan Markle. And why should a role be written specifically for a black or mixed race person? Why should they always be a parody of themselves? Why not just be another person? I mean, that is, for instance, why I never watch Afrikaans films, because it's mostly ridiculous. We don't live riding in a buggy drawn by donkeys on dirt roads anymore, And landlines still being operated by an exchange? No, we don't. But anyway, Meghan, in her effort to sound like such a groundbreaking, wonderful person, forgets that while she was still barely out of nappies, or later still doing the rounds on the casting couch, there were people like Keanu Reeves. I mean, he is Chinese, Hawaiian, and European. Halle Berry, African American European, Dwayne Johnson, Mariah Carey, Lenny Kravitz, Nicole Scherzinger, Gigi Hadid, Kerry Washington. I mean, many, 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 many more. Oh, and then her moment when Emma asks Meghan what she would have done differently, and she says, "Yes, I would have asked people to tell the truth." What truth, Meghan? Where did someone lie about you? When did they lie about you, and about what? I would really like to know that, wouldn't you? Yes, I mean, we may be speculating because of all her lies, but honestly, who, what, where? Were there straight out lies told about Meghan? What is up with the terrible eye-fluttering? Geez, Louise, it looks like she had something in her eye. Of course, she is also so authentic. There's no point in rehearsing. Just talk, just talk. Okay, isn't that one of the main reasons why we can't come to grips with Meghan? Because she is so fake, so rehearsed. Everything is a competition. Everything is a show with her as the star. Oh my gosh. Then she talks about the baby mama dance, and Meghan calls it realness. Really? Realness? Since when is a couple of jackets, towels, or pillows under your dress real? Besides, so far the hospital has denied that it really happened. So far the word is that with all her supposed issues, age, eclampsia, etc., yeah, no, she would have been hooked up to monitors in bed. And I mean, the bump looks like last week's washing. Okay, guys, at this point I got to 53 minutes of the 1 hour and 29 minutes, and I just could not listen to Meghan talking anymore. So I'm going to take a break, and I'll come back and finish it a little later. But oh my gosh, watching and listening to her, something, I don't know what, but something is seriously wrong there. I actually admire Emma, because I do not think that she believed a lot of what Meghan told her. Yet she kept her pose and continued with her questions. There were moments where you could see she was a little flabbergasted, and at least one or two times during which she was about to laugh, but she corrected herself. Anyway, I'm going to take a break, so until the next one, take care. Bye.